Today we are going to be going over a ton of different NFL quarterbacks, and we are going to be talking about if they're overrated, underrated, or properly rated. This doesn't have any of the rookies. This is a list from 2021. It's there's Ryan Fitzpatrick who's retired, and we won't do him, but this has a ton of quarterbacks on it. We're just going to go through the list, and we'll see what we think. So first we have Josh Allen. And it's hard to say. He's definitely not overrated. You can't really say he's underrated. So he's properly rated. I mean, he is considered a top 3 quarterback in the league. And he is a top 3 quarterback in the league. So, yeah, I definitely think Josh Allen's properly rated. Now for Mac Jones, this one's kind of tough. Because he could be considered slightly overrated or slightly underrated, depending on where you sit on his performance last season. I put most of it on Bill Belichick more than actual Mac Jones' performance. He was phenomenal. He did lead his team to the playoffs, but I don't think he is truly as good as people think he is from his rookie season. But I am going to put him into properly rated because he's not overrated enough for me to say that he actually is overrated. But I think people consider him pretty properly, as his numbers show. And he did lead his team to the playoffs last season. But now we're moving into Tua. And I actually do think Tua is a little underrated. He gets too much hate. He does have a lot of supporting cast this season. So this really is the season where we will see if he has a chance of being a good starting NFL quarterback. He's got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki. So he's got the talent around him. We just have to see if he's performing. But I think he is very overhated. And now we have Zach Wilson. I think he's properly rated just because he hasn't really shown us anything. He hasn't shown us enough last season to where I think I can put him in a category of overrated or underrated. But yeah, I think that he is pretty properly rated. So moving on to Baker Mayfield. This is a tough one. But I am going to go with underrated. He is also Tua, very overhated. He's a 77 in Madden, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. He's not that bad. He's had a couple rough years, but he was playing through injury last season. He'll do decent in Carolina. I definitely think that he's underrated. Big Ben, he retired, so we're not going to talk about him. Joe Burrow, properly rated. He's definitely not overrated. He just led the Bengals to the Super Bowl. He's just like Josh Allen. He's considered a top 6, 7, maybe even 5 quarterback in some people's eyes. And he definitely is in that range. So I think he's properly rated. And now we have Carson Wentz. I don't care. He is overrated. People he's still getting so many chances. He got another chance at the Colts. He is getting another chance in Washington. And he just, some of his decisions are just so ridiculous. I can't even say he's properly rated because he is so hard to watch. But moving on to Ryan Tannehill, I think this is a tough one. I am going to put him properly rated. I mean, he is kind of carried by Derrick Henry. And he crumples in the playoffs in high-pressure situations. But he's led the Titans to the playoffs consistently. And that's really what you want from a quarterback. I think people see that, and I think he's pretty properly rated. Now we have Trevor Lawrence. I think he's underrated. Yes, he had a horrific rookie season, but it was under Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer was horrible as a head coach, and he was fired halfway through the season. So Trevor Lawrence having to go through his rookie season is very, very tough. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be phenomenal in his second year. And yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is a pretty severely underrated quarterback just because of his struggles in his rookie year. Now we have Tyrod Taylor. I guess he's properly rated. He's always going to be a backup or just someone you throw in as a Philly quarterback that you're gonna like him and I'll put him and Teddy Bridgewater. I'll do them at the same time. They both are like these very, very similar quarterbacks to me. Veterans who you just use for a year as your starter or your backup, and then you go out and get someone in the draft or trade for someone or something like that. And yeah, I think they're properly rated in that sense. And now we have, in my opinion, the most underrated quarterback in the NFL, Derek Carr. Carr is a very, 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 very good quarterback, and not all people recognize that. And he is severely, severely underrated. But yeah, moving on to Justin Herbert. He's properly rated. He's in like the exact same boat as Joe Burrow. Top 5, 6, 7 quarterback. People recognize that. Patrick Mahomes, exact same. Top 3 quarterback, just like Josh Allen. People recognize that. And I'll just throw Aaron Rodgers in there too. Rodgers, Allen, Mahomes, I think people all recognize them as the top 3. And they no question about, and they are definitely the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. So now moving on to Dak Prescott. I hate to do this, but I think he's overrated. I really do. I mean, he was unbelievable as a rookie. And he was great and then he hurt his ankle last 2 seasons ago against the Giants. Horrific injury. And then he came back last year. The Cowboys were pretty good, but they were playing in a very bad NFC East team. And then you saw what happened when they ran into the 49ers in the playoffs. They lost a game that they probably should have won. So I think Dak Prescott is just a little bit overrated. Now we have Daniel Jones, properly rated, I guess. I mean, I think people recognize that he's a pretty bad quarterback. He is a pretty bad quarterback. I don't think there's much to say about Daniel Jones. Moving on to Jalen Hurts, he is underrated. He is I think he's a very, very high upside quarterback. And I think he's going to really shock people this year. He's going to lead the Eagles to the playoffs in the NFC West Division championship. And he's very underrated. Now Andy Dalton, I guess properly rated like Daniel Jones. People recognize that he sucks. They know he sucks. So I guess he's properly rated. Jared Goff is underrated. Why do people hate on him so much? He's not that bad. He really isn't. He's doing everything he can down there in Detroit. And he's criminally underrated. Like, he is a very solid quarterback. He's not as bad as people think he is. And then Justin Fields, I think, is very similar to Jared Goff. He's in a horrible situation with the Rams, with the Bears, just like Goff is with the Lions. And I think he's very underrated. Kirk Cousins is also underrated. He shouldn't get the amount of hate he does. He's actually been a very, very solid quarterback basically his entire career. And then we have Jameis Winston. I'm going to say he's properly rated. I used to think he was overrated and really, really bad. But last season he was pretty solid in New Orleans till he got injured. And then Matt Ryan. I'll say he's properly rated. I mean, he's not a great quarterback, but he's a veteran. Let's see what he can do down in Indianapolis with a very solid offensive line and run game. Hopefully he succeeds. I think he will. Tom Brady, I kind of want to put him in overrated, but I just can't. I do think people slightly overrate him just because he is the GOAT, but he is still a very, very solid quarterback, and I think he probably is properly rated. Sam Darnold, I don't know, properly rated, I guess. Same with Taysom Hill. I think they're both properly rated. Or, no, I'm going to throw Taysom Hill into overrated just because Sean Payton really overrated him, which I think was hilarious. He paid him a ton of money for it to be a third-string quarterback when Drew Brees was there. And yeah, Taysom Hill, he's not it. Cam Newton, he's overrated. I still think people think that he could be a decent quarterback. He just doesn't have it anymore. He really doesn't. Then we have Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's underrated. I mean, he wins games. He wins you football games. That's all you want from your quarterback, and that's what Jimmy Garoppolo will do for you. I mean, he just led the Niners to... He should have led him to the Super Bowl, but DeQuiski Tart decided he was going to drop the game-sealing interception, which really sucks. Then we have Lamar Jackson. He's underrated. He can throw the football. People need to stop acting like he can't do that. He can throw the football. And he just gets so much hate for being like he's some sort of trash quarterback. He's not. He can run the football and he can throw the football. He's what Kyler Murray wishes he could be. Kyler Murray, he is overrated. He is so overrated. He cannot perform in the second half of the season, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray wishes he could throw and run the ball like Lamar can. Like, Kyler Murray, first half of the year, Kyler Murray is fabulous. And then you get in the second half and he just stops performing. I mean, I don't understand why people think Kyler Murray is some sort of godly quarterback. He's really not. But now moving on to Russell Wilson. He's properly rated. Same with Matthew Stafford. Yeah, Matthew Stafford's properly rated. I do think Matthew Stafford is a little overrated after the Super Bowl. In reality, Matthew Stafford wasn't the reason the Rams won the Super Bowl. It was their defense, and his surrounding cast was phenomenal. Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback, but he might be a little bit overrated. And then we have our final one, Trey Lance, who I guess we just have to put him in properly rated because we don't know what we're going to see from Trey Lance. We haven't really seen him have enough snaps yet for us to be able to determine what he's going to be like this season. But yeah, that is my list of the overrated, underrated, and properly rated quarterbacks in the NFL. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.